Hello and welcome to Realness's all-star review of Survivor Ghost Island, episode 7, 8, and it's called Fear Keeps You Sharp.
Mm-hmm.
Fear Keeps You Sharp. And it was the merge episode.
Woo!
So that's fun. I always like the merge episode.
So I'm
my name is Michael Pez.
Oh.
My name is Michael Pez, and this is our co-host.
Don't tell Francis. I thought you were going to forget.
No, I was just like, I did forget. I did. So the last episode we saw Bradley get kicked off. And see you later, never. And girl, bye. And now we're going into the merge. So I love the merge episodes. Those are my favorite.
Oh, usually they're really good. And this one held up to that expectation. To be honest, I believe that this episode was the best so far of the season.
Yeah. You think so?
I 100% think so. Do you agree?
I like, well, because it was finally that time that Dom and Chris were getting back together on the same beach.
I guess it's kind of like there's been a lot of build up, so it's kind of like an orgasm or something, and you're ready to blow. And we blew our wad.
And then now it's just smooth, like.
No, yeah, it's just like.
Now we just like have the munchies.
We're having a smoke. We're having a smoke now.
Yeah, sure. Perfect.
So the new tribe name is La Vita. Living La Vita.
Living La Vida Loca. Crazy.
So yeah, they receive a note that they need to. They made it onto the next part of the game, and they take these old-looking boats over to. I'm assuming it's Naviti Beach.
Yeah, probably.
It's the nicer beach of the two. And it's like everybody seems really happy to see each other. Dom is happy, obviously, to see Wendell again. And yeah, he was kind of just hoping, Dom that is, that Chris was just like, kind of got over it. He hasn't been with Dom for 2 weeks or so. Like, he's just going to leave him alone, and he's no longer gunning for him.
I guess for the conversation when they sit Chris down on the beach and they're like, hey, so like, let's just bury the hatchet and let's just like do this thing. That's like later on, I know, but it's like, Chris was like, yeah, I have to think about it. But like, Wendell's like, I need you to like, right now, look at me. I need you to like, let me know that you're like, that we can maybe work together and get one of these like Malolo people out. And Dom's like, yeah, like why don't we just like work together and get these Malolo people out? Chris like, gotta think about it.
Gotta think about it. He says like, no. He said no, and then he ran off, and he's like, got a conch shell for me? Give me some of that wine. And he ran away, and basically felt as though that Chris
started rapping.
Okay, well, the rapping comes beforehand. Dom first makes a toast when the whole group gets together. He was all about, burying the hatchet. He was really laying it on like, it's a new beginning now, and let's just bygones be bygones. Cheers. And he kind of still has his relationship with Wendell, Laurel, and Jonathan, which I think is a really strong foundation for him to have moving into the merge, because everybody in that group, other than Wendell, is very non-offensive. Like, Wendell's not offensive either, but he's still considered a threat because he's been aligned with Dominic. Yes. But then Chris raps, and it's really, really embarrassing. I don't remember what he rapped. I was going to go back and watch it and write it down, but it irritated me too much. So I didn't write down the rap, but he raps. He raps a toast. And, okay, so when they go to the merge banquet, we'll say, they each have little seats, and it was pretty much random seats. Nobody has a specific place where there's not name tags or whatever, so it's completely random. Yeah. Down. They get their new La Vita buff. Chris puts his on, and he notices that it's kind of different than everybody else's. There's something in the buff. And I'm like, fudge! Chris gets a secret, awaits at tree mail. I'm like, ugh, really? Really?
His inconspicuous face. He's just like, as he gets it, it's just like, oh, I was like excited. I'm like, he gets an immunity idol, so I get points. Yay. but he got points, but he found it with a clue, so that's not as many.
I don't remember what that is. We'll have to go. Do we want to go through it all at the end, or do you want to go through it as we go?
Oh, well, whatever. Not right now. We'll just like keep going with what's going on.
So he finds the clue, and it says that the secret awaits at Tree Mail. He goes to Tree Mail, and it says that there is an idol at Ghost Island, and that a boat will come in the middle of the night to sneak him off.
Okay, but like, how long is this boat gonna actually be like? How do they know he's like missing?
Well,
go,
like
would the people know that he's like, where's Chris?
Well, it's obviously during hours of sleep. I'm sure as soon as like it got to be dark, he could go at any time that he wanted to. I don't think that like the boat's gonna leave.
Yes, yeah.
One job is to wait for Chris. So I think that, you know, once it became nighttime, he was probably able to go whenever he felt able to. That's my thoughts.
All right.
And so old Navidi, let's see if we can get this right, is Dominic.
Yes.
Wendell.
Yes.
Chris, he's in it, but he's not in this kind of conversation.
Yes. Chelsea.
Kellen.
Desiree. Angela.
Is that it? That would be it.
That's it.
If it's not it, sorry guys. And so they're hoping that they can just all work together. They have the numbers right now and just vote out old Malolo.
Malolo, which would be Michael, Libby, Jenna.
Sebastian. Wait, Sebastian's on
Sebastian's Navidi as
well. Jenna, who else?
Jonathan.
Laurel. Okay, so it's 5 of them. So it's 8-5.
Okay.
Numbers seem pretty logical. And I think it's really logical for them to just continue decimating Malolo. They might as well. There's enough of them that like each other to do that. And Dominic has Laurel and Jonathan kind of in his corner. So if you want to dump out Angela, like get rid of Angela, I get it later. But for this vote, I think that they should go for the people that are not with them, which is Libby, Jenna, and who's the other one? Michael. Those are the 3 that are not really with old Navidi.
No, yeah, they're the ones that like Dom always wanted Libby out because he's like, I think she's dangerous. Jenna is just that girl that's just always on that one tribe. Yeah,
and Libby's actually still also kind of close to Dom too. So it's actually kind of, I would think, between Michael and Jenna because they've never been on Navidi ever.
Exactly.
Sorry, I cut you off.
No, I was just like, that's exactly what it is. So it's like, who are they gonna get rid of? The smartest decision would be to get rid of Michael, but Chris is so much of a wild card.
Well, that's where the conversation that you're talking about comes up. Is like Wendell's there. He's hoping to bridge the gap between these 2 titans that want to go after each other. And he's like, he wants them both to be his allies. He wants them both to be in the game as basically a meat shield here. And Chris just does not want to even listen. Chris says he cannot commit. And in his confessional, he's like, I'm too suave. I'm just like, what are you? Like, I love him for the fact that he's so insane. Like, he's not self-aware at all. He thinks that he's really self-aware, but he is not at all.
Do you think that as a model, you would be very self-aware?
Well, he's like not really I'm sure he's modeled before, but he's not like a model. Like he's only done a few, you know,
Sears catalogs.
Exactly. It's gonna be like a coupon section. You know what I mean? Like, which is still modeling, but it's not like he's like on the cover of, you know, Versace.
Of like GQ or
So he's too suave, and he doesn't want any of it. Like, he just was like, was not willing to listen to them being like, let's just like put our differences aside for this one vote and let's get out of Malolo. And Chris is like, no, And so, as I said before, he sees a group on the beach. He's like, "Do you have a conch shell for me?" And he like runs off, and he like, takes the bottle of wine, and he drinks the wine, and he just like does not want to do it. He does think though that the boys are buttering up because they want to take a shot at him, and that he doesn't actually believe what they're saying at all. And yeah, I can understand that logic. But I also understand the logic more that people want to just keep the numbers for the merge. Like,
yeah, of course.
Nobody wants to be the merge boot because they don't make it to jury, or they haven't been lately. And yeah, like nobody wants to go out then.
No, like that's the worst one where it's like, oh, it's me. Oh man. Like I remember in the first season, Gretchen in the first season, she was the merge person. It was like, fuck, I didn't even get to meet the merge.
Yeah.
I mean, sorry, didn't even make jury. That'd be the worst. If you don't get to make jury.
Yeah, it was Jessica last season, who's a big fan, that doesn't like, she gets booted out the merge boot and doesn't make the jury. And it's like, well, can you have those both be congruent? Like, just make the merge mean you make the jury. Like, I mean, I guess it's drama. They want the drama.
I guess, yeah.
I really wish that it was just, you made the merge, you made the jury. Oh, well. So the middle of the night comes, and like I wasn't really nervous about this because I just felt that he was going to get out. But he does manage to get out unscathed. And it was really gorgeous. Like, like how they had it all set up with like, when he has to Ghost Island, there was like the torches and he lights his torch.
Oh, yeah.
Goes and he walks through, and like it's quite dramatic. And as you can see, he gets to these like wooden cylinders, and he automatically gets a hidden idol for going there, which is awesome. And the catch is he can only use this idol for the next vote. Now you find it really interesting that the producers want him to, you have to use this vote at this tribal council, and they know that the legacy idol could potentially be used because it's only the one of two options for this idol to be used.
Oh, so yeah, okay, yeah.
So, but are they trying, like they wanted two people to use an idol? Like they like that?
I guess so.
Like they liked when
I didn't realize that idol had to be used at this community.
That's why he's playing the game.
But I didn't realize it was like this community idol has to be used at the next tribal council. Yeah. I didn't realize
that's the whole purpose of the game, is that he had to use it by the next tribal council, and if he plays the game, he can extend it for one more tribal council. So he played the game, and it was extended till the next tribal council, so he could use it on this one or the next one. And then the third time he played the game, it says no vote for you, which means he's losing his immunity vote at the next tribal council. And so that was the risk of the game. He could have potentially have won 5 to keep it for 5 more tribal councils, but he only got to keep it for now 1 of 2. So I just was like, I was really upset that Suri lost that time, because of the fact that everybody had an idol and advantage and they used it all at the same time, and she just got, by default, she got voted out. So the fact that they're pushing for something like that to happen kind of frustrated me a little bit. Because I'm like, ugh, somebody that we didn't want to get out is going to be out from both of these two people using idols.
Exactly, yeah.
So I was like, kind of like, oh, goodness gracious. But it didn't really work out that way.
It didn't really work out that way.
So they don't actually really show Chris like making his way back to the island. Like I wanted to see him like sneaking back into his bed and like going back to sleep. They didn't really show that, but they did show him the next day, him being really kind of exhausted and tired. And, this is when Dominic is kind of noticing that he's like lazy and, not really, and just kind of barking orders at people while he lays there and, gets his beauty rest. So, I mean, I think that was an interesting factor that kind of came out of him going to Ghost Island, is that like now he's being seen even more of like a
lazy slob.
Yeah,
around camp,
lazy person. And so obviously Dom is annoyed at Chris. And Chris is still gunning for Dom. He still is.
Oh yeah, he wants. That's all he wants out. Chris is so focused on getting Dom out and not realizing that there's 10 other people's opinions.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and like it was really great though, is like when Dom, they were both, how the producers set it up was that they were both talking about each other, and like when Dom was talking about Chris, they had like snippets of Chris doing the things that Dom hated. Like it was like he was like narrating Chris being annoying. I thought it was great. So Dom tells Libby and Jenna that he's like, oh my God, I totally told this, that I have this fake idol. Like basically it's like a string with a shell. And like, I think he's trying to build trust with them and kind of like, you know, talk about how stupid Chris is, basically like kind of gossiping to build friendships.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Build ties. I thought it was great because the girls were kind of like eating up, just like, I thought they were enjoying talking about Chris being an idiot.
Because all they're like is, if it's not me, if Dom is talking so much about Chris, then we got to make the decision. Like these two girls, Jenna and Libby, yeah, they should be getting kicked off right now. But right now, these two titans are going at it. They're like, we should just. It's kind of like in our power now.
Mm-hmm.
We kind of can do whatever we want right now.
Well, and like they're actually pretty right to think that like now their vote actually really counts, because it looks as though a line is going to be drawn in the sand, like the Navidi sand. Like it's not going to be a Malolo right now, because those are not the people that are fighting. The girls do believe that Chris is a threat, but they actually feel as though he's so transparent and like he's so obvious in his strategy and like the decisions that he makes. Like he's really easy to read, and they are more so worried about Dominic because he's a better liar, he's more calculated, he's a little bit has a better head on his shoulders for the game, and so that's a little scarier to them. So they're kind of more considering being on the Chris side just because they feel that he's dumber.
Yeah, exactly.
And also they're saying that Chris is loyal, which is actually really true in a sense. He is pretty loyal.
He's pretty, I would say narrow-minded.
He's like, narrow-minded, yeah.
He's very focused on getting Dom out, and that's what like his focus is. And that like, yeah, we'll work all together just to get Dom out. But like, he's not looking at the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, it's like, just be a little more strategic, buddy. Like if you can always have a target in the game, that's great. You can always get that guy.
Yeah.
Well, not always. I don't actually think that Chris has the chops to go up against Dominic really. I think
but you just have to like just make sure that it's not you. Just make sure it's not you going home. Yeah,
you don't need to lead the charge on anything. Just like definitely not in Survivor, when you could easily sit back and always just vote accordingly and just be influential, but maybe not the ringleader. That's how I'd probably play it. But Jenna's happy to finally not be on the bottom. Like she has been fighting for her life for like tribal after tribal after tribal, and that would really be exhausting. And so she's definitely in a more powerful position, and her voice and vote do mean a little bit more than they have up until now.
You think that she could win?
Jenna? No.
Yeah.
I don't think she can win, but she's on my team. So yes, she can win, of course. I don't think she can win, but because of the fact that she's gone to so many tribal councils and survived, that would be a good thing to be able to say. But that's something I want to add to our whatchamacallit, points. Our points. I'd like a no vote finalist would be kind of good. I don't know if we should get points or not get points for that.
For what?
Like a no vote finalist, so somebody that gets the final three but doesn't get any votes.
Oh, like when there's like the final three and and there's a winner and there's not a winner?
Well, there's a second place, right? Like usually it's split. Yeah. It hasn't been unanimous in a while. And then there's a no vote finalist.
Yes, there is.
Someone that gets up there, makes their pitch, but nobody gives them a vote.
Yeah, that's true.
Should they lose points? Yeah.
Like 15 points.
Lose 15 points? Okay. So no vote finalist loses 15 points. So Jenna could potentially be a no vote finalist. She can get to the Like, does she get like 5 points for making to the final tribal, but being a no vote finalist, you lose 15? Okay.
I don't know.
No.
I said I didn't say no. I said I don't know. I don't know. We'll get there.
I just want to put it out there just before we get to, because now we're in the later part of the game. So I'm like, because there is usually a no vote finalist, and we should give them points for actually making it to the final 3, though. So it's now the individual immunity challenge, and this one was friggin' hard, man. Like,
these people's poor heads. Their heads.
Yeah. That was a really hard challenge. So first you're standing on like a narrow beam, and in intervals you're going to have to be walking or moving down to a more narrow part of the beam whilst holding a rickety kind of pole over your head and balancing a, what do we want to call that?
Like a little, it was like an idol or like a little figurine on like the side of the thing, and like, okay, we're gonna like hold it, you gotta raise it above your head, and then they're resting this big pole on their head.
But like, how did they even, like, did they have people in front of them putting the statue on the pole? Like, how did they even get the pole on?
I don't know.
The statue on the pole, I mean, sorry.
I guess the crew does that.
I guess, but I'm like, even that part, like getting it up, I'd be like, ugh, that's hard. So yeah, they every few minutes they have to move, like they have to do the transfer, and like people are just dropping like flies. Like Jenna's the first one out. Next comes Donovan. Wendell comes out. Des gets knocked out. Angela, she looks zen, but then eventually just drops the statue. Like, just people.
Yeah,
it's hard.
It's so hard.
Last that long. There's Des.
And then it goes. And then
Angela. And so then they're going to have to move to the next section. They have 15 seconds to make that transaction or that transfer. And okay, weren't you like, my heart was racing actually for this. When the bee was by Dom's hand, you're going to see it.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, oh my God.
I hate bees. I hate them.
I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of bees, no. And like, you see it there and you're just like, you see it buzzing, and like, nobody really is the biggest fan of bees, and this is for immunity, and his life is for sure on the line. And I was just like, get that bee away. So Sebastian is out next. 20 minutes later, they had to move to the smallest part of this little beam. Dominic could not make the transfer. Mike, gone. Chris, gone. Laurel drops. Wendell drops. So it's the final 3 there are Kellen, Chelsea, and Libby. And I think that it's probably because the women have smaller feet. So it's a little bit easier. And they usually are better at balancing just because of the lower center of gravity. But I think that's why women were able to last longer than the men with the small feet. And, they're good at balancing with their legs and hips. So Chelsea finally drops. And so it's a showdown between Libby and Kellen. Is it? Yeah.
And I was like, literally when I was watching it, I was like, okay, I have Kellen, you have Libby, come on, points.
I know, it was going back and forth. And I was like, oh my God. Get out of here, Kellen, get out. And surprise, Mike gets the points, and Kellen is the winner.
Yay.
And I know she's on your team, and I think that she's actually a Jeff favorite, but she really annoys me, man.
I know, yeah.
She's just so annoying. And when she's like, so, I mean, I get being happy for it. So like, congratulations, girl. Like, you won it, and like, it was a hard one to win, and like, kudos. When she's just like, just went into beast mode. I was like, ugh. I'm just like, shut up, beast mode. I can't even take you seriously. But yeah, so beast mode happened, and she is the winner of the first individual immunity of this season, which I think is pretty rad. I'm happy that it went to a girl. I would rather it have gone to somebody that would have been more impactful. where they would have to change their strategy. So I'd rather it have gone to, say, like Dominic, where it's like, so Chris will have to do something else other than the obvious. Or even if it went to Chris and like everybody would have to go to like do something other than the obvious. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't have wanted Chris to get it personally because he's just so annoying when he wins. But I mean, it would have just made just for interesting strategy.
I would have liked it if Libby got it.
Yeah,
that would have made it more interesting.
She's on the hot seat.
Yeah,
exactly. Like they should have. I don't know. I mean, I know people want to win because of the fact that like they don't want to even think about going home. But I wish someone else won it other than Kellen. Mm-hmm. So I was thinking at that point, as like, I really hope, I forgot that Wendell had an idol, but I was like, I would hope that Dom gives Wendell his idol and then he uses the legacy advantage, because I was thinking that because Chris has the idol from Ghost Island, that he was probably going to use it and put his votes on Wendell. And oh no, he has no votes, but get everybody else to split the votes between Wendell and Dom. And if Wendell didn't use an idol of some sort, then Wendell would be going home, forgetting that he had his own idol. So that's what I was hoping for at that point.
So who has an idol right now? Michael has an idol?
Michael, yeah.
Chris has an idol?
Yeah.
Dom has an idol?
Yeah.
Wendell has an idol?
Yeah. Kellen has that extra vote.
Okay.
Right now, like in the episode, Dom also has the legacy advantage, which is basically an idol.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I was watching it with somebody, and I was trying to explain it, being like, so they have these immunity idols now, because this person has not seen it in years, and he was like, so what do you mean? I was like, well, they have these hidden immunity idols. So like, if you have to use it before the vote, I was trying to explain it to him, and he's like, really? And I was like, this guy's got two. This guy's got one. He's got one. And I'm like, yeah. So I was just trying to explain it, but I just can't believe how many immunity idols everyone has. Like,
I was so nervous though with how this was going to shake out. Like I was just like, oh my God, I don't know what's going to happen. I'm like, Wendell's not on my team, but I didn't want him to go out this way. I'm like, no, I don't want him to get, the ricochet backlash of like the Chris Dom feud. I'm like, no, please no. So they get back to the camp and it looks as though everybody left except for Dom and Wendell to go to the well with Chris. And I don't know what Chris was thinking, but like, she just really thought that everybody was just going to go along with what, like, okay, guys, let's all go to the well, and they all go to the well, and like, do. And he was pretending as though he was being open-minded and listening to everybody's thoughts and ideas, but everybody knew that there was only one real choice that Chris was proposing, and they're all kind of like, okay. And like, but there's no plans that were like set in stone. They weren't like, okay, so how about all the girls vote Dom and all the boys vote? Like, there was no plan in play. Like, what was Chris planning to accomplish there? He needed to lock.
I just thought it was going to be like a 10-2 vote or like an 8-2 vote.
That's what he wanted, and like, he doesn't even have a vote.
But that's probably like he kind of like that's what he wanted to see happen. Like, all these people, Michael, all of them, we're not going to vote Dawn. He wanted it to be like a bloodbath. He wanted it to be like all of them voted for him.
But like, he knows that Dom has the idol.
No, that's what I mean. He's stupid.
So, because if they just did it, everybody voted for Dom. Dom uses the idol, just flat like that. Then, what would happen? They'd re-vote for everybody but somebody other than Dom?
No, it would be whoever Dom voted for goes home.
Right. Oh, yeah. And Wendell. So, like, yeah, with his plan, I was just thinking that to give everybody voted for the same person, but like that wouldn't make sense. So they vote for Chris, and then Chris would go home.
Yeah.
I don't get his logic there.
Well, we know what happens after. Yeah, I don't get it either.
Like, zero idea. Michael doesn't know really what to believe. And so when they get back to the camp, Jonathan, he's such like a trusty little ally. Like, he's like this little, I feel like he's this little, in like Shakespeare's plays, there's like the little like comic relief kind of jester character that like comes and, you know, has his little aside or moments in the, like, I feel
true,
like that's Jonathan. He just comes into like.
He's like the Rosencrantz and he's like the Rosencrantz and
Guildenstern.
Yeah. And like, yeah, that little fool that comes in 12th Night and is like, hey, and everyone's like, ah, oh, Jonathan.
The only one I picture him as. And so he tells Dom what the plan is, and that's what Chris was saying. And Dominic thinks that Libby and Jenna will vote with them. And Jonathan's like, no. And I love his little terminology. He's like, no, they're bluffing you up. They're bluffing you up, man. Like, so backcountry South. So yeah, Libby is really happy that everyone is choosing a side and that she is safe. And I was like, when she said that, I was like, uh-oh. That's like the confession, the death confession. Like,
yeah, if you're too confident, then yeah.
I was like, uh-oh. And then the next scene, you see the old Navidi girls. So Des, Kellen, Angela, I think was there, and Chelsea. We're all like, let's vote for Libby and like go after one of the Malolo girls. And I was like, oh man, death confessional. Like, Libby, never just say that in the confessional because just know that you're going to be voted out. Like, just shut up. Never feel like you're too safe or too comfortable. And if you do feel that way, do not say it to the camera because they'll use it when you're being voted out. Okay? And so like, I was like, I think Libby's done. And I was like, she's on my team. I'm like, no. So that's when the line "fear keeps you sharp" comes in. So Dom is talking to Wendell about like keeping afraid, which is completely the opposite of what like how Libby is acting. He's like, stay scared because it makes you sharp, which is really true. Do you agree?
I feel that always when you're nervous, you're more like in tune with things.
Exactly. Like you notice every little thing. You're like,
yeah. Like, well, not like paranoid, not like that kind of thing, but like there's a difference between paranoid and thinking like, or as opposed to like, no, like if you cover all your bases, you're more prepared if you're like, it's more like not a fear, but it's a fear of like what's going to happen as opposed to like being afraid of everything. Yeah.
So Dom is putting all his chips in and he's planning on taking Chris down. And then Chris, I think he says even, this is a war. And I'm like, oh God. And then like Libby's going to get blindsided. I'm thinking here, I'm like, this is rough. Cause I'm thinking like Dom or Wendell will use their own idol. And then Dominic is going to use his immunity idol. And Chris is going to use his immunity idol that he got at Go Silent. And I was like, so those two are going to be immune. And the 4 girls are going to vote Libby, and Libby's going to be done. And the rest of them, everybody else's votes are going to be canceled. That's what I was thinking was happening.
Well, that's exactly what should have happened.
Right. So we're getting to tribal council. And yes. Back to my like kind of annoyance with Kellen. Jeff now is on like the use your gut train, and he brings up gut and like, you know, gut instinct and like how much does your gut have to play in this. He asked Sebastian something. I couldn't understand Sebastian's answer. Can you find that?
I like Sebastian.
I'm down with Sebastian, but like, just can you find it too? Because I don't.
I'm looking for it right now. Hold on a second.
I don't really know what he says. But Don then but he's like, do you mind? Like, I'm just going to lay it out all on the table, you know? And so he kind of talks about like how day one, he was the knucklehead, I think he calls himself. It's like stood up and says that he didn't like the decision that his leader made and blah, blah, blah. And that he actually was really, I felt, taking responsibility for the fact that he really shouldn't have opened his mouth like that on day one, and that he kind of apologized for that. And Chris still won't have it.
No, I know.
Because I think it's very logical, and I think that, you know, I can understand when, like, you know, you say something 3 weeks ago that you are still okay. Go, let me hear it.
It's totally gut, you know? You get that gut feeling when you walk on a fishing boat and say, that guy might be a douche or that guy might be cool with me, and it could be the complete opposite end of the spectrum when you get back to the play table and you have a beer with them. Dominic.
Sorry? I mean, I get what he was saying, but like...
He talks in like so many metaphors. He's just like, yeah, like when I was hanging out with Chris, it was like we were 2 kids picking up candies in the candy shop.
That was a little bit more...
Oh, that I understood, but then you just use this like, when you're on a fishing boat and you just think that that guy might be a douche, but then all of a sudden you're like cutting out fish with him and it's like, great.
And you're like, oh, and then you're sitting at the play table, but you're having a beer? I'm like, what play table you at, boy? So yeah, I thought that was funny. And then so Dominic makes his whole like confession. He confesses everything that's been going on up to that point. And then Chris started having his rebuttal, and then Wendell pipes in. What does Wendell say?
I'm not here. Let's find out.
And 100% you need to find Wendell's confessional.
Yeah, there you go, buddy. All right, I'm just gonna wear it because it's the shell. So I show it to him, and I still can't win this guy's love. I don't know what else to do with this guy, Jeffrey. But I will say one thing.
Jeffrey.
This night is an important night. This is a showdown. This is a showdown.
The showdown.
Yes, like if he's gonna say it's a showdown, why does he not play his idol?
Exactly. It's going to be one of us tonight. Like,
it's right here.
So Chris is saying that his gut is telling him not to trust Dominic. You know, and it's like, okay, so his gut's telling him not to trust Dominic. He has an idol that he could use.
But here's Wendell.
You went and jumped right onto the Malolo side of things. That's not us staying strong. We wanted to stay strong. I could trust him. How do you not trust this man if he has told you everything?
I get your frustration, but this is more between Dom and I and my gut telling me that I can't trust him.
Okay. Yeah, it's so crazy that this is open discussion.
But, you know, now that you and I are finally here together, I'm cool with it being a showdown.
Loser.
Well, and then the delusion sets in about Chris being like, oh, he's so easy to get along with.
11 of them took off, and Wendell and I sat alone. So,
Bro, it was me and Dom in the living room, chilling. What happened? Where did everyone go? It seemed like everyone got very thirsty very fast. 11 as a group lined up and went to get some more.
So Angela, is it safe to assume, if you were Dominic and Wendell, that there were conversations that might play out tonight that you were not privy to?
It's definitely safe to assume that, Jeff. And it's easy to say, let's go with the big plan, but I don't know.
Sorry, Angela, but don't care.
Don't care.
So yeah, I was like so nervous at that point. I'm like what's gonna happen? Like I wanted to fast forward it, but like I was just like, okay, let me just build this up right now. Like let me just watch it.
That's the
I was
most.
so nervous. So Kellen is the only person, obviously, that's absolutely safe. And she's obviously happy about that. Blah blah blah. And then when I think Chris goes up to vote. He's like, "Go get him, buddy." I think I think Dom says it to Chris. Go get him, buddy.
Yeah, like it's like Chris is like shit. The fact that Chris doesn't do what we say he's gonna do, like, it just blows my mind.
He's an idiot. So can you just fast forward now? So everybody's getting up. It's time to vote, and yes. Dominic goes up, and he actually doesn't use the shell, but he uses the legacy idol. He kind of explains that it was passed on down to him from Morgan, and he can use it at 13 and 6. He's deciding to use the idol on himself tonight. So that was what he decided to do. And then they all go up to, okay, it's time to vote. Nobody else uses any idols. What? Why? I was like nervous, obviously. They all get up to vote. And then Wendell steals the show with his confession.
Right here.
Let's hear it.
Respect for that. But socially, you don't know what you're doing. I hope you stop saying I so much. I hope you start listening to people. Oh, yeah, and finally,
Somebody had to say it. I'll say it. Stop rapping. You're trash.
Trash.
Can't rap. You're garbage at rap. You can't rap. You have no bars. Put the mic down, bro. Put the pen down, bro. Use an eraser.
He just kept going. Every time I thought he was done, he kept going and going and going. And I was like, oh man, I was laughing.
You're trash. Trash, like you're a garbage rapper. Like you're garbage. Shouldn't rap. Stop rapping.
I've been waiting to say that for like 3 weeks.
Oh, it's so funny.
It was really funny. So,
that will totally be brought up on the reunion episode for sure.
Absolutely. Well, I've listened to some podcasts after, and Chris wasn't really happy about Wendell saying that. So the votes are read, and this is what was most surprising. So we know that Chris didn't use an idol. I don't know why he felt like he shouldn't use his idol. No votes were actually cast for Dominic. 7 votes, I believe, went for Chris. 2 votes one from, I think it was Desiree, and the other was from Angela, went to Libby. And Chris was just like regularly voted out of the tribe. Like just
like you have an idol, buddy. You know that Dom was voting for you. You heard him doing his speech, and like doing that, like I don't understand. I don't understand why he would just be like, I'm not gonna like do this. He had to like do the no vote. We saw that.
Oh yeah, he has a no vote.
But also the fact that like he couldn't use the idol, like he could use the idol, and he doesn't. Stupid.
Now, do you think that the girls continue to put it on Libby? Because it wasn't the 4 of them, which they thought was just in case that there was a split vote and they had to have someone just in case that had some votes?
Yeah, like just in case Chris played his idol, or if Chris had an idol.
You wanted to have control of who was going to go? Okay. Even though it's planned.
Yeah, see, Chris's face. Chris's face when like the 3rd vote comes out, he's just like, what? Chris's face just when all the Chris votes start coming out, he's like,
no, I'm like,
oh.
I'm imitating him.
It was like a monkey, like, it was like a monkey. Oh.
And so there we have it. The war between Chris and Dom is over. We've blown our wad. And thank goodness I did not lose another player.
No, I finally lost another person. It's okay. But like just with the point system, it was 25 points if they got a immunity idol without a clue. So it'll be only 15. 15 points for finding immunity idol with a clue. I also received immunity for Kellen. That's 5 points. And I lost a person, but I also got kicked off with an idol in my pocket.
That's losing points, no?
I'm losing points for that. How much was that? I don't even know. Shit. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. The next episode, we will be on our point system because I don't know what that will be right now. Because I believe that was a lot of points that I lose.
Well, let's just decide because that's the first time it's happened this game.
I know, but I remember sending it to you and being like, if they get kicked off with an immunity idol, then that is not good.
So I get 0 points this episode.
You got 0 points this episode. But I think that I may have lost more points for getting kicked off with an immunity idol.
Well, I can't imagine it being more than 25.
No more than 25, but I only got 20 points for the 15 and the 5. So
25 points then?
What's that?
It's 25 points then?
It could be. I wouldn't be surprised if it was 25 points. I think I even maybe put 30. I don't know.
Well, we can choose right now and just make it. You decide because you're the one that's.
Well, I think okay. Then I'll lose 25 points for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll just remember that from now on.
Okay, so
you're -5, so you're at 390.
390.
And I'm at 245.
245, 390. Cool. But I'm just gonna keep losing people and
still got a shot here. Still got a shot.
So, friends, next episode we see that Laurel is a little realizes, wow, Dom has an idol, Wendell has an idol. What are we gonna do? Find out next week, friends, when we do the review.
But hold on, before we just end off, though, how do you feel about that? Because me personally, I'm kind of like, yes, acknowledge this, Laurel, and it just might be our confessional, and just might be like a little bit of a voiceover. But I do not think that it's time for her to turn on her allies at all.
No, but like she just like having that talk. It's like she just. That'll be the next storyline moving forward that, hey, these guys are really dangerous. We got to watch out for that. Because Laurel is on no one's radar.
Yeah, and that's why I think she needs to stay that way a little bit and just acknowledge the fact that, like, okay, I know that my two allies, they both have idols. That makes them very powerful, which is true. But you have that power on your side, and you know where the idols are. So you are most likely not going to get sniped by those idols right now. That idol right now could be used to save you if you become a target. So I just hope that she doesn't get, like, idol search happy.
Oh, I don't know.
Like to want to make a move and to want to like get out an idol and like have something on her resume. Like it's just, I think it's too soon to show that she's that strategic. Because I feel that people would gang up and turn on her in an instant.
For sure. Absolutely.
So I hope it's just like the voiceover red herring, but you never know.
You never know.
So thanks guys for tuning on in. Again, I'm Chantele Francis and this is Michael Pez. I would love for you guys to subscribe to our channel right here and subscribe so you can get our lovely reviews and our, banter and wit about these episodes right into your mailbox. You can also find us on Instagram at Realness with 3 S's. Or on my Instagram page, which is at ShanFranFran, or
mine, which is Michael Pez, just like the candy. And yeah,
so
thank you so much for watching.
See you next week.
Bye.